I'm Pastor Charles Howse, and I am just so incredibly glad you decided to tune in today. Honestly, it means a lot to have you here in this space with me. Before we really dive into things, I want to ask a small favor of you. If you enjoy these conversations, or if you think someone else might benefit from them, take a moment and share this episode with somebody you care about. I say that because, you never really know what conversation might arrive at exactly the right moment in somebody's life. Sometimes a simple link can change a whole perspective, right? Today, we're continuing season 1 with episode 6. I've titled this one, Growth Happens Through Friction. It's a concept that I've been wrestling with quite a bit lately, to be honest. Let me start by asking you something directly. When was the last time you grew without being uncomfortable? Just think about that for a moment. Close your eyes if you have to, unless you're driving, of course. I'm not asking when was the last time you succeeded. I'm not asking when was the last time things worked out exactly how you planned. I'm asking when was the last time you actually grew as a person. The more I think about it, the more I realize that most of us really want growth. We crave it. But very few of us actually want the specific conditions that produce it. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? We want stronger, deeper relationships, but we don't want to have those difficult, awkward conversations. We want better health and more energy, but we don't want to make the hard lifestyle changes required. It's the same with our finances. We want stability and freedom, but we don't want the discipline of a budget. We want wisdom, but we don't want to go through the mistakes that actually teach us that wisdom. We want maturity, that deep, soulful maturity, but we don't want the challenges that forge it. Essentially, we want the result, but we really don't want the process. And that, my friends, is where the tension begins. The older I get, the more I realize that life is just full of these tensions that never completely go away. They aren't bugs in the system, they are features. They are part of the design. There is that constant tension between what I expected to happen and what actually happened. I mean, how often does life go exactly according to our scripts? Almost never, right? Then there's the tension between where I am right now and where I desperately want to be, or the tension between what I know is right and what I actually end up doing on a Tuesday afternoon. And of course, the big one, the tension between comfort and growth. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent a lot of your life trying to eliminate those tensions. You've tried to solve them like a puzzle. We try to avoid them, escape them, or just pray them away. But what if we've been looking at it the wrong way this whole time? What if the tension isn't actually the problem we need to solve? What if the tension is actually the teacher? I was thinking about that recently because life has a funny way of teaching us lessons we would never, ever volunteer to learn on our own. Think about it. Nobody volunteers for disappointment. Nobody walks up and says, "Hey, I'd like some uncertainty today, please." Nobody signs up for setbacks or the pain of loss. Yet, when I look around, some of the strongest, most grounded people I know were shaped by those very things. They didn't become strong because their lives were easy and pleasant. They didn't enjoy those experiences while they were happening. No one does. But something happened inside them while they were going through the fire. Something was being developed deep down. Something was being strengthened that couldn't be strengthened any other way. Something was being revealed, and that's what I think we often miss when we are in the middle of the struggle. We spend so much energy trying to get out of the stretch that we never stop to ask what the stretch is actually doing inside of us. We focus on the exit strategy instead of the internal strategy. Think about a muscle for a moment. It's a classic metaphor, but it's so true. A muscle only grows when it encounters resistance. If you lift a weight that's easy, nothing changes. You're just moving. Without resistance, that muscle remains exactly as it is. It might even atrophy. So the resistance isn't evidence that something is wrong with the workout. The resistance is the reason the growth is happening. The same thing is true in our lives. Some of the very things we are praying for God to take away are the things that end up developing us the most. It's a hard truth to swallow, I know. Patience doesn't grow when everything happens exactly on schedule. If the traffic is light and the line at the grocery store is empty, you aren't practicing patience. You're just being fast. Character doesn't grow when every decision is easy and everyone is watching. Compassion doesn't grow when life has never broken your heart. You can't truly feel for someone else's pain if you've never felt your own. And wisdom? Wisdom definitely doesn't grow when you've never been wrong. Wisdom is often just the scar tissue of our past mistakes. Growth happens through friction, plain and simple. And let's be real, friction isn't always comfortable. Sometimes friction feels like failure. It feels like you're sliding backward instead of moving forward. It feels like total uncertainty. Sometimes friction feels like confusion, or worse, it feels like being completely stuck in the mud. But looking back over my own life, Pastor Howse has discovered something important. Some of the seasons I would never choose, the ones I tried to run away from, are the seasons that taught me the absolute most. They were the most productive times of my life, even if they felt the worst. The seasons when I didn't know what was coming next. The seasons when I had way more questions than I had answers. Those times when I felt stretched far beyond my comfort zone. Those seasons often became the sacred places where I learned things I simply could not have learned any other way. There was no textbook for it. There was only the experience. And maybe that's why we call this podcast The Tension Where Truth Lives. because truth often shows up in places we didn't expect to find it. It doesn't always wait for the sun to come out. Truth doesn't wait until every question has been answered or every conflict has been resolved. It doesn't wait for the uncertainty to disappear. Sometimes truth shows up right in the middle of the struggle. It shows up right in the middle of the waiting, right in the middle of the stretch. And maybe that's exactly where some of you are today. Maybe you're feeling that friction right now. Maybe you're listening to this while dealing with a situation you didn't plan for. Maybe you're carrying a burden that you never expected to have to carry. It feels heavy, doesn't it? Maybe you're trying to make a big decision and you're just not sure what comes next. You're frustrated because life isn't moving as quickly as you hoped it would. You feel like you're behind. If that's where you are, I want to offer you a slightly different perspective today. Just a small shift in how you see things. What if this season isn't actually working against you? What if instead it's working on you? What if there is something being developed in you right now that could not be developed in any other environment? Like a rare flower that only grows at high altitudes. Maybe the friction you're feeling isn't a punishment. Maybe it's preparation. Maybe the tension you're experiencing isn't proof that you're lost or doing something wrong. Maybe it's actually proof that you're growing. Because growth and comfort, they rarely occupy the same space. At least not for very long. They are like oil and water. I think that's something every human being understands deep down. Whether you live in Tennessee or Texas or Russia or anywhere else in the world, we all know this feeling. Every one of us knows what it feels like to live in the middle of a recovery process, the middle of a career transition, the middle of a massive challenge, the middle of a dream that hasn't quite happened yet. That awkward, painful stage of becoming. And maybe that's exactly where the truth is waiting for you. It's not at the beginning when everything is exciting, and it's not at the end when everything is settled. It's in the middle, in the friction, in the stretch, in the tension. So here is the question I want to leave with you today. It's a powerful one if you let it sink in, instead of asking, how do I get out of this? Right? What if you asked, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? What if you asked, what is happening in me? That one little word change from to in changes everything. Because sometimes the greatest growth in our lives isn't happening in our circumstances. It's happening within our souls. And we don't always fully understand it until much, much later. This is Pastor Charles Howse, and this is the Tension